Yes! Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to this final game prior to Christmas, the You ORNS Watford FC post-match. Easy for me to say, you're fine and dandy today, aren't you, after this Watford win? My name is Omar here in San Francisco, lifelong Watford supporter. And greetings to all of you fellow supporters and everybody watching live on YouTube at You ORNS WFC. Please subscribe. And those of you listening on X, thank you very much indeed for joining, whether you're listening now live or whether you're listening later on. A pleasure to have you aboard. Please make your comments on X if you would like. And if you would like to be heard on X, it'd be great to have you aboard as well. Hit the request button and we will patch you through. Those of you on YouTube, please make your comments. After this Watford 1, Stoke 0 final result, it did not come easy for us today, but at least we go into Christmas having won our first home match in 3 or 4, I think it is. The last time we won a home match was against Norwich City. That was just a few weeks ago. We'd had some frustrating draws in between, but the bottom line is that Javi Gracia's presence here has been really valuable. He has steered the ship and steadied it, and now we have unbeaten. We're really in what 4 or 5 of our last 6, 4 of our last 5. We have just lost once in our last 10 matches now. That is a really good foundation for us to continue to build on going into this Christmas break. Obviously, this is the first game of a very key set of festive fixtures. Of course, we've got some situation now where we've got Leicester City next. That will be on Boxing Day coming up Friday. And then on Monday, the last game of the calendar year, we're away to Norwich. And then we've got the home match to start the brand new year against Birmingham City, whom, of course, we lost to just a few weeks ago. Bottom line is that this is the way you want to get started in your festive period of fixtures. A 1-0, the final result. Matt on YouTube says, come on, get in there. Come on, then, he says. Finally, another clean sheet. Thank you, Matt, for reminding us. A clean sheet, the second one of our season. The last one we got, of course, was way back in, October against Middlesbrough. It was a 3-0 win, and that was Javi's first home match in charge, if you remember that. It's great to have everybody here. Matt adds, Mama yet again incredible, and I agree. Mama was fantastic. Again, he didn't really put a lot forward in the second half of that game, but he was electrifying for the first half. You can see why Premier League clubs like Crystal Palace want him. And I think Palace are going to probably get him in January, quite frankly. Palace have been looking at him now for over a year. I've got to tell you, there seems to be something going on the Watford pitch at the moment at the Vic, but I will get to that in a minute. Stoke City had more of the possession today, 60%. They had 7 total shots. We had 10 total shots. That's some of the early stats. I'll get into those later on. But again, I want to welcome each and every one of you to this brand new edition of the You ORNS Watford FC post-match. After Watford 1, Stoke City 0. It's been a pleasure to have that scoreline come through, because much of this game, we didn't really have a lot of ideas. Now, we were, I think, the better team overall. Stoke gave it a decent go, but I thought we were well composed in the match for the most part. We just didn't have composure in the final third. Now, back to the Watford pitch. On the pitch, Semedo had been down. I think he had either hurt himself, he had a collision. I think it was he got knocked to the face, knocked to the head by Aaron Cresswell. Just watching the replay now, it looked like an elbow to the side of the face of Semedo by Aaron Cresswell. And now Vivaldo Semedo is walking very gingerly off the pitch here at the Vic. Just want to let you know that. He's walking very groggily, so that could be a concussion protocol situation. We will see. And that is critical to us because, as you know, we have one of our strikers at AFCON at the moment. And, of course, we also know Kayembe is off at AFCON as well. Vivaldo Semedo walking off very gingerly. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. Please hit the like button if you are watching on YouTube. It'd be great for you to do that, and subscribe at You ORNS WFC. Now, as I was saying before, I gave you the update on Vivaldo Semedo, who is walking gingerly off the pitch right at the end of that match. Watford, listen, we weren't great today, but I thought that we were well composed and well organized in general. I thought we had a really good idea of what we were doing. Our structure and our shape, I thought, was very good today. I thought we were very disciplined, especially in the first half of the game, but we were very disciplined. The only thing that we lacked composure on was that final third. Some of the balls we had were overhit. There was a really good chance in the first half from Imran Loser, who, other than the important assist, obviously, did not do a whole heck of a lot for me as far as this game was concerned. His corners were not very good for much of the game, very poor. But he did put that all-important set piece in the 74th minute, didn't he? Really good flat ball. It was flicked on, I think, by not Kiram Gore, Kiprianu. And it was Kiram Gore who applied the final touch for his 8th goal of the season to give Watford all 3 points. I want to know who your man of the match was, by the way. Obviously, you'd probably pick Luca because he got the all-important winning goal. But there's a number of people that I would look at. Jeremy Ngaki was fantastic. Matty Pollock was fantastic. Max Lane was fantastic. I thought all 3 of them, once again, were terrific. And I like what Cipriano had to do at the back. He settled it very well, sitting in front of that back 4. I was very pleased with what he had to do. And, of course, Othmani Mama was terrific as well. Iran Kunda came on late. Tom Ince was starting the game in place, of course, of the likes of players that you'd expect to be on the pitch, like Kayembe. But the bottom line is that Watford got the job done here. It was not an easy game. It was not a great game overall, but it did have some moments to it. There was some saves made by the Stoke keeper, who we finally got to make sure that he earned his wages late in this game. The second half, we finally got him making some saves. He made a couple of really good ones. Ince should have scored, let's face it. That was a really good save from the goalkeeper, though. Ince just did not get enough purchase behind his shot that would have given Watford an earlier lead than the 74th minute winner that they got. Kiram Gore has to work on his sliding ability. That was not, just looking at the replay again, that was not a very good slide. But listen, it was a great reflex, a goal from Kiram Gore. Luca is very good at that. He's got great reactive skills. He came in between 2 defenders and put the ball in. It's a great flat ball from Loser, flicked on, and then the instant reaction shot as it was a poacher's goal. Luca got the goal and scored his 8th of the season. That's a really good thing. Halfway through the season, it's the 22nd game we've played. And if you look at the table now, oh, dearie me, what have we here? Oh, we have a nice situation. We're in the top 10 at present, which is nice to see. Watford currently in 10th at the minute. Before, of course, there'll be probably some other games played at the weekend, or maybe not. But Watford in 10th at the moment on 32 points. They're 3 points from the playoff spots. And that's really what you have to look at. It's not so much the 10th place. It's about the points. It's the points, the number of points, because there's a lot of teams that are on 31 points and 33 points. You have to look at that, not the position, so to speak. Obviously, you want to look at that too, but it's the points. It's the points. And so we are just 3 points off the playoffs at the moment. And by the way, I guess you could say it is 3 points, but we have such a strong goal difference, superior goal difference to Millwall, who are in that final playoff spot. They're at -6 in the goal difference. We are +3. And so that's a very significant thing, because Millwall lost today to Blackburn Rovers, 2-0. Bristol City beat Middlesbrough 2-0. That's an important result. And QPR smashed Leicester City 4-1. QPR, who are above us in the table, who we will play in the next few games. They won today. They crushed Leicester. That was a really strong performance from them. And so, look, those are the most important results, I think, from a Watford perspective at the minute. But let me read you some stats for the Watford supporters. And thank you very much again for being here on You ORNS Watford FC post-match, the last one before Christmas. And, of course, I wish you all a Merry Christmas as well. Look, the bottom line is that I thought today, Watford in the first half, I thought they were very composed, very disciplined. We were good in our shape. But again, going forward, we had those issues, didn't we, of the final third again, overhit balls, passes where one player was supposed to be, he zigged where he didn't zag, things like that happened in the first half. It also happened a little bit in the second. The game crawled to a lull in the second half, and I was on the social media saying, hey, look, you know what? This is a game that Watford need to take the ball by the horns on and take flight and grab a hold of this contest and take control of it. And no sooner did I say that than about 10 minutes or so later, we did just that. The lads got the goal took control, and really were in control of the game, I think, after the Watford goal. Although I have to tell you that Stoke definitely made a game of it. They had three or four really good chances and should have made good on a couple of those. And if it wasn't for Jeremy and Ngake getting a minor touch to the ball late, we could have ended up being on the receiving end of another late heartbreaking goal, as we were last week, of course, at Jackson. But what you like about the Watford side now is that there is stability under Javi. That is one defeat in our last 10 now. That is the kind of thing you want to continue to build on. And the difference now, obviously, from last week and some of these other performances that we've had, and particularly those that we've had at the Vic lately, is that we come out of this with 3 points. This is what we need to keep doing at home. Our record at home is outstanding, and we have to continue to get home victories and obviously turn our away performances into better ones and hopefully 3 points. And speaking of away performances, we have 2 key away games now coming up in the next 5 or 6 days or 7 days or so. Because, of course, as I said earlier, in 6 days, we go on Boxing Day to Leicester, where we take on a Leicester City side that got bombed today at QPR 4-1. So Leicester, who are below us in the table, are going now to play us next, and that will be at the King Power. That's the final game of the season that we've played, that we won't play the same opponent in. So this is the last different opponent that we're going to play, Leicester. That will mark our 23rd game of the season, our halfway point in the championship. And then, of course, after that, we turn over the fixture list again and start again with the teams that we played. And that will be on the 29th of December. That will be on a Monday, I believe it is. And that, of course, is going to be the game that we play against Norwich City. Norwich have been Norwich City have been quite interesting. And Norwich, again, I think they lost today. But we need to play a whole lot better in these games away from home. And those are 2 opportunities now. Leicester in 13th place. They're a point behind us. And the key thing about this game today, fellow Watford supporters, is that we got points against teams that are in and amongst us. We've talked about this a lot here on the You ORNS Watford FC post-match, that it's very important for us to start picking up wins against teams that are in and around us. We've got a draw against Bristol City, who are on 33 points. We've got the win today against Stoke, who are on 33 points. We got a win earlier this season against QPR, who are on 34 points. We've got a draw earlier this season against Southampton, who are on 31 points. And we've got a win at Derby County, who are on 31 points. So you see the pattern. We are picking up points against teams that are in and around us, and we have to continue that coming up on Boxing Day against Leicester City. And I'm really looking forward to that game. It's not going to be an easy game, of course. None of these are. But Watford, I think, are going well in their way. And I want to talk a bit more about form in a few moments. Fellow Watford supporters, if you'd love to come on the line and have a talk with us about Watford, about what you think about the team, what you thought about the performance, and also what you thought about what we're doing here in terms of structure, shape, where you see Javi. Is Javi going to stick around here beyond the season? I'm sure he will stick around for the duration of this. I know it was about a year and a half, I think the contract was. I don't know. But don't you think Javi should get a full-time contract? I mean, like a long-term 3-year deal? Is the ownership going to do anything like that? I was not at our place meeting, so I'm not privy to what Gino has in store for Javi. But we're talking about stability and what we need stabilization-wise. What does January look like for us? What do you think? Is Mama going to go? Now, listen, we all know that we've had Premier League clubs, the likes of Palace and the lot, looking for Mama. Palace have been interested in Mama now for over a year. That is a fact. There's a number of published sources that have talked about this, that they've been on training grounds looking at him back in December and November of 2024. So listen, there's no question that there's a lot of interest in Mama. And listen, I think if we're being honest with ourselves and realistic, it's only a matter of time before he does leave. If he doesn't leave in January, he's probably going to leave during the course of the summer. I would love for him to stay. Listen, our model as a club, and I think it's very clear now, our business model under this owner is to get talent at basically bargain basement prices and then turn them around as they begin to shine like the jewels in the rough and the diamonds in the rough that they are, and then turn them over and sell them at a profit. That's good business. It's a good business model in that sense. If you're strictly looking at that piece of the pie, that is a good business model. But the issue becomes, what are we doing to fortify those departures? And I think, quite frankly, what Gino did, as much as I would love to see him say adios, um, listen, that summer transfer window for us was gangbusters, and you got to give the owner credit for that, whether you want him out or not. He has to get a measure of credit for that. And I think the fact that he and the board there and the front office managed to get all them players in the summer, I think gives us a little bit of cushion. Maybe we still need another striker in January, but we've got enough here with what we've got as a young side that's still growing, still learning, that we can still make a run at these playoffs. I had a Watford supporter here last game last week going, playoffs are done, we're not making them. And I did say to him at the time, I think his name was Brad, who was on X saying this to me. And I said, Brad, you might be right, but I'm not prepared to give up on this. And I said to him as well, before the season started, I predicted playoffs. I would not be prepared to predict any further than that. Back in late July, I said, Watford, based on what we've seen here with this transfer market, actually, it was in early August before the season began. It was in early August. Based on what we've seen in this transfer market that we got, I thought that this team was making the playoffs. And I still think that. No reason to change that. I didn't change my mind about that after the game last week, and I'm not changing my mind now. Our home form is very important in that element of trying to make the playoffs. Now, what we've got to get right is the consistency away from home. And I thought today, although he didn't play superbly by any stretch, our shape was right, our form was right, the tactics were right, the composure for the most part was right, but we just didn't have enough activity in front of our goal in that first half. In the second half, as I said, the game was a bit of a lull, but we ended up, I think, look, moving forward, asking questions of that goalkeeper, making him earn his wages. He made some really big saves. Again, Ince should have scored earlier. But I'm pleased with the performance, even though it wasn't the greatest. I'm pleased with our composure, and I'm pleased that we got 3 points. I mean, listen, you can't ask for better than that. Leicester's next up for us, Boxing Day, and then Monday it's at Norwich. Listen, we didn't we beat Norwich earlier this season? Yeah, we beat them 2 or 3 weeks ago at the Vic. So we need to get that right as well at Carrow Road, because we had lost a couple at Carrow Road over the last couple of seasons or so. We need to start doing that. Norwich, bottom third of the bottom three in the table. We have to take full advantage of that. And Leicester, who got rocked today at QPR, I'm sure are going to play a lot better than they did today. So Watford need to continue to go. And this is without two of the players that some fans of ours do not like, or at least not necessarily respecting. Doumbia, I don't think gets the plaudits he really should from some Watford supporters, because he is blooming good. Kayembe is the one that a lot of us don't necessarily care for. Listen, Kayembe is a player that should come off the bench, but he's been starting lately. He's off. Both of them are off to AFCON for a month. And you may have heard the news today, by the way, that from 2028, AFCON's going to be once every 4 years, like the World Cup, which, of course, will be news to lots of us. Ringing news positively to us, because we don't want to see these great players go away and leave the coop and fly the coop, as it were, for a month when we need them most. And January is a pivotal time for us. It really is. And I want to read your comments. If you've got any comments on X, would love to hear from you. Please do not be shy. If you'd like to come on X and give us a ring, please do that, and we will put you up and listen to what you have to say about Watford, what you think about January, what's it shaping up like for you, what's your outlook, playoffs or no playoffs, do you think Marmer's going, or what do you say about the way Javi has gone about business here since he's come back in for the second go around? All those things are on the table and more as far as Watford are concerned. And of course, as you might know by now, Watford's own Anthony Joshua delivered a knockout punch in Miami last night. Of course, we know he's a Gooner, unfortunately, but we also know that he is a Watford man in the sense that he was born and raised in Watford. And I'm sure that Anthony Joshua is enjoying the fruits of a win that he should have put away Jake Paul earlier in that contest than he did. But look, the knockout spoke very loudly for itself. For a man who had not fought for 15 months in the boxing ring. Now, listen, that's a quick departure from the sport at hand here, which is the football. It's great to have you aboard, fellow WAP supporters. Absolutely a treat to see you all. Thank you very much indeed for being here. I'm going to read out all your comments on YouTube now. Matt once again says, after today's win, we're in 10th, only 3 points off the playoffs. Absolutely right. And I know, Matt, you had made that comment a little bit earlier, but you're absolutely right. And I mentioned this as well before I came to your comment. 10th place, 3 points off the playoffs. We played 22 games. You know what? We are in the right direction. We are in a good way at the minute. One defeat in our last 10. That is a really strong situation for us. That defeat, of course, came at Birmingham. That was the game where we lost. I think we lost 3-1. Marma scored his first goal for us. Remember, that was a Monday game. I was traveling in New York at the time, so I couldn't do one of these post matches, but I was watching the game as I was traveling around New York City at the time. That was just a few short weeks ago. But Watford are going in a good way. They're in a good way right now. You know, Javi stabilized us. And, you know, it's a young side that continues to learn. There's a lot of upside to us, I think. You know, I think that we are better defensively. As of this game, I thought we were solid defensively. And hey, we kept a clean sheet. So they obviously are going to be better defensively. We had good discipline defensively. There was a massive, massive touch right near the end of that game from Ngakia that saved us. That could have been a disaster if he didn't put his toe on that ball. That would have been Stoke equalizing at the death, and that would have been a heartbreak for us. But anyway, I think we're in a good way for the Watford supporters. What do you say about this? I think if you look at the way we played these games, even the game against Wrexham, and the game, of course, where we gave up a late goal, Wrexham, the game we gave up a goal in, I think some of these home games where we had 1-1 draws, we've still been largely in the right direction. There was one Watford performance that we had at home that was really poor. You remember that game from a couple of games back, and I forget which team we played, but we were poor in the game we got. It was Sheffield Wednesday. We were so poor in that game, and Wednesday were not great, but they were literally seconds away from a win. Remember that? And it was Semedo who scored very, very late with the last kick of the game. That was about a week or 10 days ago or so. And Wednesday are going to get relegated here. But the bottom line is you're going to get 1 or 2 games like that. But we are in a good way. We're in the right direction. I think the shape has been better. The tactics have been better. I think it was a 4-3-3 to start today. And then when I think Luca got subbed off, or whomever got subbed off, I think it was a 4-4-2 at one point after that. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to go look back at that. But I'm going to read out all of your comments. And if you have any to say on X and you don't want to hit the request button, you're welcome to leave a comment in the comment section. I will read out your comment and I will also respond to your comment as well. So it's great to have you aboard, fellow Watford supporters. The last You ORNS Watford FC post-match before Christmas. And I actually have some Christmas tree lights here. I know you on X cannot see this, but you on YouTube, I'm trying to get these around my neck, actually. You can probably see those now. Some of them are lit and some of them are not lit up. So anyway, but you can see those YouTubers. I'll probably have them on for the You ORNS 10-minute take, actually. The Christmas tree lights will be shining brightly here in San Francisco, California, where the weather, well, it's a little bit overcast. Well, foggy before we hopefully get a bit more warmth, probably around 60 degrees Fahrenheit here. But I do hope that you're keeping warm wherever you are. I know the weather has been pretty frightful at times across the UK and elsewhere, but it's really a pleasure to have each and every one of you here for the Watford supporters. Yours truly, Omar here, lifelong Watford supporter, and someone who literally, when I used to live in the UK, I was literally living about 7 miles away from Watford, would go to the games all the time. But the bottom line is, it's great to have you here. Let me read out your comments, and anybody who would love to come on, hit the request button for the Watford supporters. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Let me just read out what Matt says again. Matt, thank you for your contributions on YouTube, and please subscribe to the You ORNS WFC YouTube channel at You ORNS WFC. You can watch us live there. You can watch us also on X as well. You can also listen to us on X as well. So thank you for doing that. It's great to see you all. Hit the request button, hit the like button, and we will have you aboard here. Matt says this: I'd put Selvik in the mix for man of the match, because without that save he made right near the end, the score would have been 1-1. That is a good call from you, Matt. I was talking about this earlier about who you call man of the match in this one. There's a number of contenders, and I forgot to mention Selvik, and Selvik absolutely, Matt, would be one of the contenders. Has to be. Made some key saves in the game. There were a couple of shots that Stoke went dangerously close to the crossbar and to the goal mouth, and the goalkeeper shepherded them away. It was Selvik today was really savvy in goal. Sometimes we've seen Selvik. We saw the one game against Bristol City where there was a thunderbolt from about 30 yards out that he should have saved. He didn't see it somehow, and it went straight past him in the corner of the net at the near post. There's one of those from Selvig. That's probably one of the only two mistakes he's made this entire season when he's been healthy. Today, he was really savvy with what he did, and he's normally a very savvy goalkeeper. Today, I thought especially so. Smart saves, smart punch outs. Really, he slapped the ball out, threw the ball out, rolled the ball out, kicked the ball. I loved his goalkeeping today, Matt. That's a good shout from you. I do think that Selvik should get some plaudits today. He probably won't get the big plaudits, Matt, but I am glad that you recognized and that he really did deserve some consideration there for man of the match, at least being in the mix for that. And Matt continues, Pollock seemed to be the defender today that was making sure the rest of the defenders stayed in line with each other to make sure Stoke were offside 5 times. Yeah, Matt, I agree with you there again. Matty's leadership today and his leadership in that back line over the last few weeks has grown. It has been noticeable. It has been very refreshing. Remember, he got off to the slow start after the injury at the beginning of the season. And he got the injury actually in preseason, but he got back into the side I think by the end of August, which was really impressive because it was a hamstring injury, if I remember, that he got in that game against Deportivo La Coruña in July, at the end of the month of July at the Vic. And then he got back a month later and he did a good job, was slow in the game in the early games of the season, but he has really began to hit full stride now. And agree, he was very good last week against Wrexham, Matt. So were your other defenders there. Max Lane and he have a very blossoming partnership. Max Lane, great ball player. He's a good player on the ball as a defender, good on the ball. He's good with the ball. He makes wise decisions with the ball, Matt, as you know, with Max Lane. Look, Max Lane's got to get some consideration too while we're at it. And Pollock showed you leadership today in that back line. Absolutely. Stoke were offside a million times in the game. I mean, Matt, again, good call by you there, Matt, because they were offside a million times in the game. They didn't watch their lines at all, and especially near the end, they had some fantastic opportunities, did Stoke, to score goals, and they were offside a million times, especially in that injury time. They had 7 minutes of injury time, and you and I, fellow Watford supporters, Stoke and Matt, excuse me, and everybody else here as Watford supporters knew that 7 minutes, we were probably waiting for the other shoe to drop. And thankfully, it did not. I'm just so pleased about that. So look, that's a really refreshing thing. We were very disciplined, and that speaks to the discipline, Matt, that I've been talking about, that we've been talking about here. This side was very disciplined today in its choices. Defensively, especially, our shape was very good. We didn't have the heebie-jeebies, to borrow an American phrase. We weren't nervous Nellies, to borrow a British phrase. We looked very composed for the most part defensively. Ngakia had another brilliant game. Ngakia has got to be considered now. And I know Mama's going to be considered, and I know Iran Kunda, although Iran Kunda has faded significantly. But you've got to look at Jeremy Ngakia has got to be looked at as the Graham Taylor Watford FC player of the season. Let's be fair about that. And I know some Watford fans aren't the biggest fan of Jeremy Ngakia, but come on now. By far his best season as a Watford player. That lad has absolutely put in a shift for us every game now. And not only is he putting a shift, he's doing really great things with the shift that he's putting in. I absolutely will nominate right now Jeremy Ngakia for the Graham Taylor Watford FC Player of the Year. I know there's still a half season to play. I'm not going to get too carried away. But right now, for consistency wise, he has been terrific. I think he's been the most consistent player on the team. And if you agree or disagree with that, come on and let's talk about it. Come on YouTube and talk about. Well, you can't come on YouTube, but you can at least you can at least type in your comments. Jeremy Ngakia right now is the most consistent Watford player. He is. And he's blown good at right back. He's great with the ball. He's great with the crosses. He scored twice in a game this season. He's a good defender. His defensive positioning has been very good in these games. And he may make one mistake here and one mistake there, but he's had an almost flawless season for us. I've got to be considering him right now as your Watford FC, Graham Taylor Watford FC player of the year. I think he is. Now, there may be one or two others. Mama's obviously going to be in the mix there. Loser, I thought was in the running for that again to repeat, but the last few games he's kind of tailed off a little bit. He tailed off. He was not great today. He got the all-important assist, as I said earlier, but he has not. The last 2 or 3 games he's been off the pace a little bit, and it's going to happen during the course of a season. You're not going to have a player maintain that every game, but Ngakia has been the closest to it. He's been marvelous, Ngakia. Quietly, steadily, Jeremy Ngakia has really become a very solid, very impressive, and right now, for me, in the running. Right now, he would be, if the voting was to start today and end today, I'd vote absolutely for Jeremy Ngakia as your Graham Taylor Watford FC Player of the Year. I don't think there's any question about it, and I think he should be given that consideration. Now, of course, we've still got a half a season to go, so anything can happen. Luca's going to probably get some shouts. Luca, 8 goals on the season. That's not a bad return. Remember, he was not even playing some games under the previous manager. So you've got to look at that for a shout. And you've got to look maybe at a couple of defenders as well. Pollock's done a decent job here. I wouldn't put him as the player of the season at the minute, but there are defenders I think who've done. Max Lane has been pretty blimmin' good. So look, that's what you're looking at the moment. But I want to read out your comments, and I thank you, Watford supporters, for hanging around, for being here, I should say, on this edition of the You ORNS Watford FC post match. Matt says, Matt, thank you for your comments as well. Ryan says this: Good afternoon, Omar. I hope you are well, Omar. Yes, I am. Thank you, Ryan, for asking, and I hope you are well as well. It's great to have you here as always. Ryan, really appreciate your comments on YouTube. And please, of course, for everyone, spread the word about the You ORNS Watford FC YouTube channel, if I can say that. And Ryan continues on. Good win. Absolutely, Ryan. And he continues, but we need to take our shots and score more goals for sure. I'm in Spain, Alicante area for Christmas, New Year's holiday ending early January. Well, wonderful. Wonderful. I hope you are enjoying Spain, where, of course, we know the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. And I'm sure, Ryan, that you're enjoying Spain. Alicante's, yeah, that's very nice. Very good job there. I love Spain. Spain's a terrific place to go to for a holiday. Spain is nice. I'd have gone to Barcelona several years ago, and also down to Malaga, which is really beautiful. Malaga is fantastic in the south, more toward the south of Spain, in the south of Spain, I should say. Malaga is a terrific place. Barcelona is wonderful as well. Beaches, lovely beaches. Malaga, beautiful, great places to go and see. Restaurants in Barcelona, or Barcelona, as I guess it's properly pronounced. The restaurants at Barcelona are terrific. Oh, boy, oh boy. And if you like seafood, ooh, seafood is the place in Barcelona to be for your choice of meal. But anyway, Ryan, I hope you're enjoying Spain. Keep warm out there. I don't know what the temperatures are in Spain, but keep warm out there, Ryan. I'm sure you were having no problem doing that. And enjoy Spain. That's a lovely job out of you, Ryan. Thank you for your comment. I'm sure you are doing very nicely in Spain, Alicante, and enjoy that. Merry Christmas as well, Ryan, and also Happy New Year, of course. But we will be, of course, commencing again here with some more football, of course, coming up after Christmas. Of course, the first game after Christmas is going to be the game on Boxing Day between Watford and Leicester. That will be at the King Power Stadium up there in the East Midlands, I believe it is. And so we'll be heading there. That should be, I think that's an afternoon kickoff for us It's a 3 o'clock kickoff on Friday. That is Boxing Day. And so we will see how that goes. I think Watford came out of this game very well. I'll read out more of your comments in a moment on YouTube. Thank you. Keep those comments coming. I think Watford came out well from this game in terms of injury situations. Semedo is the only concern because, again, as I have been telling you during this particular episode of the You ORNS Watford FC post-match, Semedo at the very end of the game was elbowed in the head. It was inadvertent. I don't think it was deliberate by Aaron Cresswell, the former West Ham player for Stoke. He elbowed Semedo in the side of his face, in the side of his head, and he was down for several minutes. Javi Gracia went out onto the pitch. And then slowly but surely, Semedo got up and he was walking very groggily and very gingerly. So I would imagine that Semedo will be under protocol for concussion because he was very woozy and looked very unsteady walking off the pitch. But we'll see. Maybe they can recover him in these next 6 days. The game again is on Friday, so there's still some time, but they still may have to keep him in protocol anyway. It might be a week or two. Remember, Agil Selvik, I believe, was in concussion protocol earlier this season before the injury that he got most recently. He was in concussion protocol, and I think he missed 2 or 3 games. So we're looking at that now with Semedo. We don't know if he's going to miss any games or not. Sometimes these things are harmless, but you've got to be very careful with any blow to the head. You cannot take chances with that because some of these things can manifest themselves not hours later or minutes later, but literally days later. So he might wake up. God forbid. Let's hope it doesn't happen to him. Knocking on wood that it doesn't. But he might wake up on Tuesday and he might feel really groggy. Sometimes these things, when you're talking about concussions, they can have a longer effect, and they can show up a day or two later. So Watford, they're going to have to be careful. We'll see with Semedo. It's important for us, not only for his health first and foremost, but of course, you've got to remember that we are short on strikers at the minute. Will we get another striker in for cover? I don't know. I don't know that we really should, but we'll see. We'll see how that manifests itself here as we go along. Now, your comments, as promised, the rest of them to read out on YouTube at You ORNS WFC. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much indeed, fellow Watford supporters. My name is Omar here in San Francisco, California, a lifelong Watford supporter, and you are watching You ORNS on YouTube, the You ORNS Watford FC post-match after Watford 1, Stoke 0. A clean sheet, the first one we've had in 2 months. Last time it was, of course, against Middlesbrough. Those are the only 2 clean sheets we kept so far this season. But it was very important to keep a clean sheet today because obviously that meant with the Luka goal in the 74th minute that we would have 3 points in the bag. And we do. So that is very important for us. This is a game that was very frustrating at times, and I'll get to that in a minute. But let me read out the rest of your comments. And we did indeed beat Norwich 3-2 at home on the 6th of December. Yeah, that was just 2 weeks ago. It's amazing. It felt like it was a lot longer than that ago, Matt, who reminds us that we did beat Norwich at home. And I did mention this earlier, but I've only just got to Matt's comment now. But Matt, you're right. That was our last home win. And in between that, we had 2 or 3 very frustrating home draws. We had the draw against Preston, and I think that might have been before that game or maybe after it. We had the draw against Bristol City, which I think was before. And then, of course, we had that draw against Sheffield Wednesday that was also very frustrating. And we hadn't won any of those games. And it was like, my goodness, we're dropping points at home now. Then we got that draw against Wrexham, which we should have got 3 points from. And then, of course, today we got 3 points, which I think we deserved. On balance, we deserved. Now, again, we didn't have as much possession as Stoke, but we did get a very important 3 points today. Ryan says, Omar, I will try my best to help get more listening on your live stream. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Ryan. That's greatly appreciated. I will do my part as well here. I always get very nice comments from people who say that they do like the content here. I've been trying to do more content. I've just been awfully busy. I would love to do more, and I'm going to try to do more. And I just need to just do that, step that up a little bit as well. But thank you for all the kind comments, because there are fans who have reached out and said very nice things, and I do appreciate that as well. So keep it coming, keep spreading the word. And Ryan, thank you very much for that. I don't know what that part says. That Matt also helps boost your subscribers. Oh, okay, Matt, thank you for doing that, by the way, Matt, for your efforts as well. Matt also helps boost your subscribers in general. If that's okay, I will get in contact with the Watford Way channel. You can listen. I'm fun with whatever you wish to do. Any Watford supporter, and again, I'm really thankful for the help and any of those things. Really, I really don't mind any of that. For me, I mean, I would love to have lots and lots and lots of hundreds of thousands of people watching this channel. For me, I do this out of the joy and the love of my genuine love for Watford Football Club and for this club that I've loved forever. I mean, of course, I'd love to have lots more people watching. And I don't mind that so much if they don't, because again, I just love what I'm doing. I just love what I do when I do these shows and get to talk to fellow Watford supporters. And other than, had it not been for the internet and social media, we wouldn't have that chance, right? So it's great wherever we are across the world to get in touch and to connect on these platforms like this. And so I'm really delighted by that. I think that's a really good thing to do. And so that's really what I enjoy it for. But of course, yeah, it would be great for more people to watch. I don't really concern, I'll be very honest with you. I don't really concern myself with that so much. I really don't. But like I said, anything that anybody would like to do, of course, to spread the word about the channel, you're more than welcome to do it. I got no problem with that either. I'm not going to say no to that either. But I do want to thank you for any and all efforts you do. But I really do this because I love doing this, and I really do this because again, I love this club, and I think it's important to get on the horn and talk about Watford and talk about the club and talk about what you know about the club and the things that you'd like to see at the club and also engage with Watford supporters on these platforms, on these live streams, because it's really good to do that. People all across the world who are Watford supporters. And Watford supporters are not only in Watford, of course, they're not only in Hertfordshire, and they're not only in England. They're not only across the UK, they're across the world. We are a global village, and it's a global sport. It's been a global sport forever. So you're going to have Watford fans all over the world. There were Watford fans in various places across the world before we had social media and the internet. And before Watford were in the Premier League, there were Watford fans in other countries. But now, with the advent of social media and the advent of the internet before it, listen, it helps bring everyone together and have a conversation on these channels. So thank you for that, Ryan. Really appreciate that. And that goes to anybody else. If you want to spread the word, and I would love you to, please do spread the word on this channel, the You Orns Watford FC YouTube channel. And I will continue to put some more content up here as well. That also helps. So I've got to do my part as well. Get in, says Brown Electrons. Hello, Brown. Great to see you here as well. Get in. I think a draw was a fair result, but I'll take it. Oh, wow. Are you then saying, Brown, that a win for us was not a fair result? I mean, I don't normally ask those questions of you, Brown, but if you're saying that a draw was a fair result, but you'll take this, are you by implication saying that a win for Watford is not a fair result based on what you saw? Let me know if you're still watching on YouTube, Brown, if that's what you are saying or what your sentiment is. I should say that because that you didn't say that explicitly, but I just want to have an idea of what you might be saying there. That is it on X, though. I'm going to say goodbye to those of you on X who are listening. We'll continue on YouTube, and I'll read out more of your comments. But it's been great to have you aboard on X. The final score of this game, for those of you listening on X, is with You Orns. No, You Orns was not playing the game. Watford were playing the game, Vic. Oh, dear. Oh dear. And I have not had any alcohol. Actually, I don't drink anymore. I stopped. At the beginning of the year, I stopped. My New Year's resolution was to get through the entire year without drinking, and I am 11 more days away from it. But you would forgive me if I actually had a drink. You Orns is not playing the game Watford is. So the final score. The final score before Christmas, the last game before Christmas at the Vic, is Watford 1, Stoke City nil. And oh, dearie me. I really do hope you have a Merry Christmas. Those of you listening on X, we will continue on here on YouTube. But for those of you on X, Merry Christmas to you. And of course, we will see you on Boxing Day, or we will hear from you on Boxing Day, hopefully, as we travel to the King Power to take on Leicester City this coming Friday. That is it, or next Friday. That is it for now from those of you on X. Thank you for listening. And until Friday, Merry Christmas. You take care, everyone on X, and we'll see you on Boxing Day. Merry Christmas to you all. So that is it on X. We continue here on YouTube. Fellow WAP supporters, thank you very much indeed for your time and for your listening ear and for your viewing ear as well. You're watching us live here on YouTube at You ORNS WFC, the You ORNS Watford FC YouTube channel. Yours truly, Omar here. Please like and subscribe. And please, please, please spread the word about the You ORNS Watford FC YouTube channel. We're also on Substack as well, YouOrns WFC, the number one, .substack.com. And Brown, I would love to hear from you on what I had asked earlier, which I will scroll through the comments. Brown continues, I know he scored, but K9, I didn't think he played that well. You know, I have been critical of Luca. Last game against Wrexham, there are a couple of times where he hesitated defensively and did not put himself about when he was in the final third of the pitch and on an attacking side. And I've always thought that Luca was much more of a finesse striker than he was a physical presence. I don't know. I heard a commentator today during the game saying, "Oh, Luca's a very physical striker," and it's like, no, he's not actually. He's not using his physical attributes at all. He's not using them, I think, the way he should or could be. And for me, that's not good enough. And I hope you can hear me better now on the You ORNS Watford FC YouTube channel. That's not good enough. I think Luca needs to be stronger physically. Today, I'm not that disappointed in his play. I thought he played okay. He was making a lot of the runs. I thought he made a lot of space for himself. But the thankless task of a striker, when you're up top or when you're in a 4-3-3, you just have to keep making runs and you have to be physical. You have to assert yourself. Uh, for me, I thought Luca was okay today, Brown. I didn't think he was. I thought that in the game last week, he was not very good. And I think he scored in that game as well, if memory serves me. But I didn't think he was very good last week. I thought today he was okay. So look, we have a difference of opinion there, no problem with that. Ryan says, for next season, me and my dad and I will try and look into moving upstairs to the upper Graham Taylor stand with our home season ticket holder, currently sitting in the lower Graham Taylor stand one. Where did you used to sit? Ryan, thank you, Ryan. That's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that question before. In all the years I've been doing this, no one's ever asked me that. But thank you, Ryan, for being the first to ask me that question. When I used to come to the Vic, and I'm talking about many, many years ago, I would sit in a stand that's not there anymore. I mean, I would actually not sit at stand in the terraces at the Vicarage Road end of the ground. So where you see the Anne Swanson, in fact, where you see the middle of the Anne Swanson combined with where the away end is of the away end supporters, if you can imagine this, I'm sure there's lots of pictures on social media. You can just type in Watford Vicarage Road stand, 1970s or 1980s. Yeah, it's been that long. Give away my it's oh my god, I've been around for a while. But back in the day, Ryan, I would be standing on them terraces. So if you get an old picture, and I wish I had one to hand, would because I took a picture years ago of the terraces, and I would stand on them terraces, Ryan, and that's where I'd stand. That's where I'd go when I'd go to the Vic many moons ago. Now, when I've gone to the Vic more recently, it has been sitting in the Sir Elton John. Now, I need to move into the Rookery and sit there when I come again to the Vic to watch a match. I think that'll be the next thing I'll do. The next time I come to Vicarage Road, I'm going to definitely sit in the Rookery. Got to do that. Got to do that. Have not done that. I've never sat in the Graham Taylor stand at all, whether lower or upper. And I've never been in the Rookery, and in terms of seated in the Rookery. I would love to do that though. Oh, I've got to do that next time around. But Ryan, thank you very much indeed. And if you do go to the Upper Graham Taylor stand, I think you're going to have a. I haven't listen. I've not sat there myself, but I think you're going to have a better experience in the sense that you're going to have a better view of the pitch because you've got a better overview. If you sit in the Upper Graham Taylor, that's probably the best place to sit in the whole stadium. And not in terms of atmosphere, but in terms of just where you are in relationship to the pitch and where you have the overview of the ground. You really have a good view of the ground. You have a good view of the seating areas. You've got a good view of the pitch. You've got a good view of the sight lines on the other side of the pitch with the dugouts. That is a really good perch in that Upper Graham Taylor. So best of luck getting season tickets there for you and your dad. I really, really think um, I really, really think you should do that. I know it probably costs a little bit more, and I know they're probably going to raise the season ticket prices again next season. It depends, of course, especially on how we do this season. But yeah, I think that that's a really good bet for you there, Ryan. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for the question. Matt says, which other Watford player that we have right now could score a goal from a corner like Ngakia did? Right now, I can't think of anyone who could. Yeah, I know we've had Kayembe's done it a couple of seasons ago against Millwall. I think it was the beginning of last season he did that against Millwall, Kayembe. I think Georgie might have done it once. But I know what you're saying, Ryan. I'm not, excuse me, Matt, pardon me. Matt, I know what you're saying. We don't. And Ngaka has been terrific this season. And I think it would be a mistake to discount him as a player who probably is our most consistent. He is our most consistent Watford player. I know he scored only 2 goals, but he scored 2 goals in one match, 2 goals in the space of a few minutes of that one match. That was against Oxford, if I remember correctly. And yeah, scored off a corner. He had a fantastic game there, and he's been brilliant all season long, wins and losses. He has been very good. And so for me, he's the great right now. Jeremy Ngakia, for me, consistency wise and everywhere else, is the Graham Taylor Watford FC Player of the Year. Of course, still got a half season to go. So let's not get too carried away, but he is definitely right now my pick for that award. Brown says Jeremy had been immense. He also feels like one of our most dangerous players, which is mad. Yeah, yeah. Which is mad. I guess I want to complete your the rest of that. If I had to add something to the end of your sentence, Brown, it would be which is mad, considering that many Watford fans don't like Jeremy Ngakia or didn't like him and wanted him out the club. He had a rough spell, hadn't played well several seasons before, had been injured a lot. Yeah, I dare not jinx him this season. I'm not going to say anything. And now this season, he has rounded into shape, having his best season as a pro. He's having his best season as a football player. As a professional footballer, this is Jeremy Ngakia's best season. That is not even close. Remember, I'll never forget this. Mark Noble, when he was captain at West Ham, was so furious at the West Ham front office and board for getting rid of Ngakia and letting him go to Watford, letting him go at all, saying that this player is going to be a special player. And he was right. Turned out to be correct. His prediction took a little longer to come than we would like it as Watford supporters, but he's turned out to be correct, Mark Noble. You know, Mark Noble has turned out to be absolutely right about that. He was furious that West Ham allowed Jeremy Ngakia to go basically on a free, I think it was. And now Watford finally are reaping the benefits. I thought Jeremy Ngakia was a good player even before this season. I backed him for several seasons now, and Watford fans, I think 3 seasons ago, were definitely not where I am on Jeremy Ngakia, where I was on Jeremy Ngakia then. I think a lot more on now. I'm not saying I was the only one, but I believe in Jeremy Ngakia, and I'm very pleased with what he's produced this season. He has been outstanding. He has been the most consistent Watford player. No question about it. Luzer's not been as consistent. Luke has not been as consistent. Iran Kunda's not been as consistent. Let's look at all the players. You know, the strikers haven't been. Mama's starting to percolate on a small sample size of games. But the most consistent player, Kevin's had an off few games now. He's not even making, I mean, he's not even, I don't know if he's gone to AFCON or not, but he is not even making the starting 11 now. The most consistent player that Watford have is Jeremy Ngakia. And it's time for us to admit that. Not that that's a terrible admission at all. It's not even a question of admitting. I should just take that back. It's time for us to just say that out loud, right? Because some Watford fans have given Jeremy a lot of grief over the years. Some of that warranted, but a lot of it not, quite frankly. A lot of it not warranted. He's a veteran footballer who I think has done great things at this club. He's having a great season, you know. He's learning, he's getting better. He is a leader. And I think he's having his best season of his life. He's having a tremendous season. And long may that continue. Long may that continue as I knock on some more wood here. Brown, thank you for that comment. I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. Brown continues. Yeah, I think both teams canceled each other out well and didn't show much up top. That was what Brown is saying earlier in response to my earlier question about, well, do you think that Watford didn't deserve to win the game? Because Brown has said earlier that he said that this was a game where he felt the draw was a fair result, and that was the result that was deserved, a fair result. And I guess my real question was to Brown is whether Brown thought that a win was not a fair result based on what the comment was. So yeah, I understand what you're saying there, Brown. You're saying that it's probably based on the performances, based on what we saw, what you saw. It was really a 0-0 draw, had 0-0 written all over it. And probably you what you're saying is that you felt based upon that it should have been a 0-0, and 1-0 probably doesn't really fit the game for you. You're not saying anything about whether Watford deserved to win. You're just saying, obviously from your comment here at least, that the tempo of the game and the mannerism of the game was 0-0 all over it, and would have been something you would have probably settled for. But I want to speak to something, by the way, and this is not only directed to Brown, it's directed to everybody watching. And I didn't really get to this, and I wanted to get to this earlier, is the frustration that the home support rightly had vented at Watford players. Because a lot of this game in the first half and in part a lot of the second half until the Luka goal, Watford fans were saying, get in, get on this team, get on Stoke, get on their backside. Start giving them a hiding to nowhere. Get on them. Stoke had been really poor in their form. They had been, prior to this game, they had lost 4 of their last 6. Can't overlook that. They had lost something like 4, I think it was 3 of their last 5 they had lost. And now they've lost 4 of their last 6 with this defeat. And so a team that had lost 3 of its last 5, including 3 in a row, coming into the Vic, that's a team you've got to take care of. And so that's what Watford fans were shouting about. You could hear a lot of Watford supporters quite rightly saying, get in there. Come on. Have a go. Get at them. Get into them. You heard Watford fans saying that very loudly and clearly today at the Vic. There was a lot of there were boos, there was frustration, and rightly so. People are not going to remember that now because we've got the 3 points. But there's going to be some of us as Watford supporters who do remember that, because that was going on for much of the game until Lucas scored in the 74th minute of this contest today. And listen, I'm glad he got the goal. I'm glad that we got the win. That's all you want now is a win. And going into Christmas, that's going to make the lads feel a lot better. It's going to let the lads feel a lot better about themselves. They're going to grow in confidence. Last week was a bitter pill to swallow, that late goal against Wrexham, who, by the way, got victimized today in the early games by a very late goal. Might have been yesterday, actually. Was victimized very late. It was yesterday. Victimized very late with a late goal against them in the Battle of Wales, where Swansea from South Wales defeated Wrexham of North Wales at Swansea. Swansea, again, shows you how we did well to get a point against Swansea near the beginning of the season, because Swansea are very good at home. And Swansea got a late goal, courtesy of a goalkeeping error from the Wrexham goalkeeper. So, and that was right near the end of the game. So Wrexham got the same thing happen to them that they inflicted on us last week. See, this is the thing about football. It's very interesting football. Football happens in cycles like this. Remember, we had these two results, the last two games, the game against Tuesday last week. Remember, where we got a late goal to equalize, and for Wednesday, they probably felt like they lost the game and it ended 1-1. And then the game against Wrexham that Saturday of last week, we were in front, about to win the game, and then Wrexham got a late goal, felt like we lost the game. These things cycle around and boomerang because, again, as I said, this week, having scored the late goal, Wrexham last week against us, just Friday, yesterday, Wrexham gave up a late goal. So these things kind of cycle around and boomerang around. It's a strange thing. I can't explain it, but it happens in football, in all sports, where you get these strange things happening. It happens for you, and then it happens against you the next game. This happens a lot in sports, and particularly in team sports, and it happened to Wrexham last night. So there you go. But we got this win today. Very important win going into the Christmas holiday with confidence. We're in a good way right now. We're consistent. We need to be consistent. I think if you lost just once in your last 10, that speaks to a level of consistency. And obviously, if we continue to play well, because I don't think we played badly today. I think we played decently today, but we just didn't perform with the adequate composure in front of goal. That's what we needed a bit more of. I thought defensively, I thought we were very good. I thought we were very solid defensively, anchored by Max Alleyne and Matty Pollock. And Max Alleyne, when he looked like he kind of got knocked down early in the game and he was kind of a little bit unsteady, and we were worried about him. He was on the pitch on his backside for a while, and then he got up, and then he was able to continue on and look great after that. But if we can develop consistency in all areas of our play, we're going to be tough to beat in this league. We're going to be tough to beat. We have a home record that is the envy of pretty much everyone in the division. Pretty much everyone. Lost just once at home this season. That's a phenomenal home record. And we find a way at home, either to get a draw or to win. And we found a way today. Today was a lot about finding a way. Finding a way. And again, the great thing about how we're doing at the minute under Javi, and again, the position in the table for me, okay, fine. But the thing is the points. Obviously, it's the points. 10th is nice, but it's the points. We're 3 points off the playoffs. Long way to go. They're going to be twists and turns with all these football clubs this season in the championship. But the thing to me that is pleasing, even in the frustrating draws that we get at times, and sometimes even in the games that we lose on the road, is that Javi has us in a good way, and that these lads are learning. They're young, they've got upside, they've got more potential, they're going to get better, they're going to keep learning. And those things you have to hang your hat on at the end of the day. 3 points are 3 points. Puts you in a better mood going into Christmas. I hope you've done your Christmas shopping. Oh my gosh, I still need to finish mine. But it does brighten your mood. You get the win, makes you feel good. The club that you love so dear gets the 3 points going into Christmas, puts a smile on your face. You know, people feel good about themselves. You know, there's a buzz about the place. It's a good, positive environment. You know, that's great. 5 days before Christmas, you get 3 points in the bag and you continue your run. 1 defeat in our last 10 matches. That is really what you have to look at, the broader picture of what Javi has done here since he's come back in. 22 games played. Next game will be the halfway mark of our season. the opponent that we have yet to play this season, which is Leicester City, that is the last of the 23 other teams that we get to play. Of the 23 teams that we play this season, that is the last new opponent for us. And then we turn over the schedule all over. We turn over the schedule on the 29th of this month when we travel over to Norwich, who we beat earlier this season, a 3-2 game. Remember that? I think we were trailing in that game against Norwich. We were against the Norwich side in the bottom three at the Vic. We were trailing, I think it was 1-0 at the time. I think Sargent scored in the 9th minute at the Vic. This was just, again, 2 weeks ago today. 2 weeks ago today, that game was hard to believe. I can't believe it wasn't longer ago than that. Surely it was longer ago than 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty confident that it was more than 2 weeks ago that we beat Norwich. I'll have to go look that up. I'm pretty confident that we've beat Norwich before the 6th of December. It has to be earlier than that. And I'll find out in a minute or two about that. And I might be wrong. I might well be wrong there. And I probably am. I can't believe. Matt, you're spot on. It was the 6th of December. Good grief. Matt, you're absolutely right. It's just incredible, really, that was only 2 weeks ago. We've played so many games there, games since. And look, Hector had the assist. It was actually Loser who, again, and I'm glad I went to BBC Sport here. BBC is absolutely correct. It was Hector Cipriano who flicked on the ball, and it was Luca who put the last touch in. So it was not Loser's cross. It was actually Cipriano's header. So I do apologize for getting that wrong, because I got that wrong on the X channel as well. Got that wrong on the X post that I put out there as well. But it was Cipriano's assist for the goal. Great flat ball delivery, though, from Loser. And indeed, it was the 6th of December. Gee whiz, that's unbelievable. It seems, Matt, and everyone watching, that we played 1 million games between the 6th and the 20th. That's just 2 weeks ago. Incredible stuff. But yeah, that was our first home win in 2 weeks. We played 2 other home matches, I think, since that time between these 2 wins. We've got a clean sheet today. We've got the 3 points, and we've got good performances in some places. I thought, again, in Ngakia, Mama, Cipriano was very good today. Pollock, what's not to like? I mean, Max Lane was terrific today. The goalkeeper, Selvik, was terrific. I thought he was very good second half. There's nothing to dislike about the way they performed, I think, overall. We just need to have a bit more imagination going forward. But defensively, I thought we were very solid today. And you can see the improvements being made, and there'll be more improvements. So that's what we've got to look at here. And let me read out more of your comments, because there's lots more of them coming in. Matt, thank you for yours. Matt says this on the Watford official app. Matt says on the Watford official app, they have spoken to Gracia, and Gracia said it wasn't the best game from us, but I'm really happy with the attitude and we followed the plan. I'm proud of my players. Yeah, that's the listen. No lies told. No lies told by Javi. The game plan was followed. The tactics were right. The subs were correct. They were organized. They were well organized today. They looked composed for the most part, except in front of goal at times. And we were disciplined. I mean, we did give away some silly yellow cards. Sameda was on the pitch for 10 seconds, and he had a yellow. That wasn't good. That was not good. But we were disciplined for the most part. There were some other fouls we made, some challenges that weren't quite right, and we weren't playing some smart football at times. But overall, we were disciplined and composed. Overall. And Matt says that Gracia continued in the interview. We got a clean sheet. That's important. We needed it. It's now 1 defeat in 10, and that is something we must be proud of and keep building on, as we need and want more to achieve our goals. Yeah, I mean, I think, Matt, thank you for supplying that from Gracia, Javi Gracia, our beloved Watford manager, who, is a manager that the Watford fans can get behind. Watford fans, by and large, almost without exception, are big fans of Javi. He's got lots of credit in the bank. Of course, he got us to our highest ever position in the Premier League. He had been in the top 10 in the Premier League, had us in there all season long, that 2018-19 season. He was manager of the month of August of that season. He got us to an FA Cup final that season. We were flirting with Europe for much of the season. We'd won our first 4 games that season. We had done some really great things and had some great players to do it with, of course, at that time. And now Javi's coming back with a younger squad, different kind of mentality, but different kind of mentality in the squad, I'm saying. But Javi has just done a great job here. One defeat, I keep saying this, and then there's Matt noting those comments that he put forth that Javi made. 1 defeat in 10, you're doing something right. Got to keep that going. And that will give the lads more confidence, give the lads more belief, give the lads more perseverance, give the lads a lot more of a test. They've been tested in this season, and we've got some of our players still out. Quado Bar, don't forget's not in the team. He's injured. Expected to be back in January, maybe February, probably January. Rocco Vata, who was doing very well before he got that horrible injury, he's going to be out a bit longer. But look, he's someone that the squad would definitely benefit from having again once he gets back. Jack Greaves hasn't played all season. Excuse me, Ben Grieve hasn't played all season. I think his name's Ben Grieve. Yeah, I think. Someone can correct me on that. Maybe Jack. Oh my God, I don't even remember what his first name is. Jack Grieve or Ben Grieve? Anyway. Oh dear, dear, dear. And then listen. We're missing 1 or 2. We're missing 1 or 2. So look, the future looks bright here. I mean, I know we have some setbacks, and we've got to turn those draws on the road into wins. But before we even do that, our performances away from home have to be stronger. And I thought our performance at Wrexham was very good. Very, very good away performance. We just didn't get the result. We did everything right, except those final few minutes of that injury time. That's really all that separated us from 3 points. And we would have been right in the thick of things. But you can't look now at what could have been. You just got to look at what we can do going forward. You can't change the past. You can only learn from it and grow from it and hopefully not repeat it if it's not positive. So today we got the win against the Stoke side that had been struggling. They had lost, as I said, 3 of their last 5, including 3 in a row in that. They've now lost 4 of their last 6. This is a Stoke side that started like a house on fire and had been second or first for the first few weeks of the season. And then they slowly tapered off and started to fall back to the pack. And now they really are back to the pack. As Stoke now are still above us in the table, but they're in 8th. Watford in 10th. And again, playing well. Watford going very well right now. 8 wins, 8 draws, 6 defeats, +3 goal difference, and 32 points. 3 points, if I can say that properly, off the playoff spots. Millwall occupy that final place. They are on 35 points with a -6 goal difference. Preston and Millwall, we lost to Millwall this season, and we drew with Preston at home. Preston have gone pretty well. They're unbeaten in 6 straight at least. And they're on 36. Really, we've got to target them. I know that Millwall's obviously on 35 with a -6 goal difference, but we really need to target Preston, and we'll play Preston again in the next few weeks, I'm sure, whenever that will be. We've got to target Preston in terms of trying to get up the table. We are in a good way, as I said it several times already, and I'm pleased with how the lads are thriving under Javi. There's always tweaks and things that we can do with the lineups, the formations, all manner of things like that. But listen, we are in a good way. Now, let me say a few things more before we wrap up here. Let me read out your comments, rather. Brown says, yeah, always been a fan of Jeremy. I used to call him the mummy because he was always wrapped up. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy's a good player. And again, it's taken him a while to show what his potential strongly suggested. And it's taken him a while to get a regular place in the side. And it's taken him a while to overcome all of the challenges he's overcome. But he's really been stronger for all of it. And I give Jeremy Ngaka a real round of applause for the player he's become. Here at Watford, he's been absolutely fantastic this season, and I'm not going to ever tire of saying that. And knock on wood, let him continue. I mean, he has been absolutely brilliant. It's not an overstatement. I'm not bigging him up at all. It's right before your eyes, right before your very eyes. He's been Mr. Consistent. And if you're consistent and a steady Eddie, like Jezza is, you're going to get some real backing for Graham Taylor, Watford FC Player of the Season, and he should. He really should. It's not about liking or disliking players. You've got to look at what they're producing on the pitch. It's not a popularity contest, and I recognize in sports, and particularly amongst fan bases, there are players in a team that the team that they support that they might love, and players that they may only like, and still other players that they say, "Oh, we don't really care for him," and they're on the team, and the fans don't like that player. Happens. Jeremy Ngake, I think, probably fits in the second category. And there were some player, Watford fans, as I've said many times and earlier here, who didn't want Ngake anywhere near the team. Didn't want him anywhere near. And now I really want those Watford fans, and they probably won't do this anyway, but I want those Watford fans to get on board and admit that Jeremy Ngake has had a really good season. He's been very good. Very good. And he's been consistent. He's been consistent. Man of the match a few days ago. Maybe the game against Norwich, he was man of the match in that game, I think. Voted man of the match by the fans. It's been fantastic, Jeremy Ngake. And we've got to start saying that a lot more, I think. Because I think of all the players we have this season, the most consistent player is Jeremy Ngake. Mama, small sample size, right? He's played 6 games for us, I think. Can't really judge on 6 games. Maybe he might end up being the Watford player of the season if he can stay beyond January. But we'll see about that. But Jezza, been brilliant. He, for me, is right now, with a half season left, to be fair, it's early doors, is the Graham Taylor Watford FC player of the season. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And not even close for me. Not even close. Loser? No. Not been. He's had a strong season, but the last few games, not at all. Luca scored 8 goals, but 8 goals is very good, but it's not. You know what I mean? I mean, didn't play great today. Didn't play terrible. Matty Pollock, slow start, growing into the thing now, is doing well. Not the player of the season at the moment for me. Goalkeeper's been terrific. Selvik, not the player of the season though for me. Iran Kunda, strong start. Every bit the player of the season earlier on in the season. But right now, no. Quadro Bar, injured. Vata, injured. You get the idea, right? So Jeremy Ngake, by leaps and bounds, for me, is the Graham Taylor Watford FC player of the season. We've still 24 matches left to play. Tune in again in May when you hear me utter Jeremy Ngake's name once again as the Graham Taylor Watford FC player of the season. We'll see. We'll see if I'm correct. Anyway, Brown, thank you for your comment. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm going to continue to read your comments. We'll be around for 5 minutes or so, 5 more minutes. And then we'll bid you good evening for wherever you are watching this across the world. You're watching the You ORNS Watford FC post-match with yours truly, Omar, here at You ORNS WFC. Remember to please hit the like button for this video, like and subscribe. It's a great pleasure to have you on, fellow Watford supporters, especially after a win, after Watford won, Stoke City nil. We go into the Christmas break, Christmas holiday with a 1-0 victory. That's such an important win. Clean sheet, very important. The confidence level grows. This festive fixture period began today, and you want to, especially at home, get off to a good start when you're playing 5 games and then 5 games in 2 weeks, essentially, something like that. And you really want to make sure that you do the job right. 5 games in just over 12 days or so. Oh no! Happened for the second straight week. I don't know what that means. but I'm going to have to get it fixed. That's probably what it means. Oh, dear, dear. Don't you just love that? The wardrobe malfunction continues 2 weeks running. Anyway, the bottom line here is that the festive period of fixtures began today, and we got off to a good start. You cannot complain about that. Got off to a really good start, winning this game, and I'm excited about it because then it really does um, give us more confidence. Except for confidence in that sign staying where it's supposed to stay. I'm going to have to definitely get that attended to properly so that it doesn't keep doing what it's doing there, trying to play a part in the proceedings here on the You Orns post match. But we are in a good way. I keep repeating that because it's true. And I'm very pleased with what we've done so far. So, anyway, let's keep going here. Matt says the only two players that have gone to the African Cup of Nations is Kayembe and Dumbia. So, we still got a strong squad. That was Matt from earlier. Matt, you're absolutely correct. I was talking about AFCON earlier, and that's right. Kayembe and Dumbia are the two players who are going to be off for about a month or for however long they are in AFCON for. And look, best of luck to both of them. Obviously, I'd love to have them back sooner, but if they're there for a month, then that obviously means their teams are doing very, very well. So we will see how they do work out. Hope they also are able to come back without any kind of issues. Yeah, Matt, you're absolutely right. Strong squad is what we've got. I don't think we're going to do anything in January, quite frankly. I don't see that for us. I think we'll probably see some outs in January, if any. Probably, maybe one or two. We might get a lone player in, probably, in terms of a free. But I don't see any us adding any strikers, and I probably don't overall probably don't see us doing anything. I did just say that we might add a lone player, but I don't know that we really need to. We have a strong squad here, as Matt pointed out, and as I've pointed out, and as many other Watford fans know. We have a strong squad. Even if we're missing Cordo Bar and Rocco Vata, and missing the two players who are on AFCON duty right now, Kayembe and of course Dumbia. We still got a lot left. We've got enough left in our squad. Papi Mendy made an appearance for the first time in forever. Remember Papi Mendy, who was really coming in from the cold as if he was in exile, finally made an appearance on the pitch for Watford. I don't know. He might have played at Birmingham City. He might have come on there. I don't know. I'm doing this on the top of my head, but I don't think Papi Mendy has been in any game for Watford since Javi's been the manager again. And Javi's wanted to play him, but he just doesn't have the room for him, such as the embarrassment of really good riches and good players in our squad. So we'll see. It's great. Pappy came on and did a decent job for the 5 or 6 minutes or 10 minutes he was on. And look, I'd like to see more of him. And I probably think that now with the AFCON situation, we probably will see more of him. Jeremy Petrie, I don't know what's happened to him. Is he injured? Is he not injured? Has he left the club? Where is Jeremy Petrie? I don't know. I really, really don't know where Jeremy. I should do a little bit of research. But Jeremy Petrie, I have don't know where he is right now, unless he got injured. I don't. I've not seen Jeremy Petrie, so we will see about where Jeremy Petrie is. Where he, I'm sure he's still in the squad. I don't think he's left anywhere. But Jeremy Petrie was a good player when he was here. When he was in the squad regularly, he was doing a good job for us. No reason to think that he will stop doing that. I'll read out more of your comments. Brown says, I really thought our breakout star would be a Abankwah, and that's Brown. Brown, thank you for your comment, referring to James Abankwah, a defender who came along for us. I think he was on loan from Udinese last season, and he was on loan again from Udinese this season. He started like a house on fire for us last season. This season, it's been a bit of up and down for Abankwah. There were some times this season where he actually, I think, was very good. I think he was solid in defense. He marshaled his position well. And then there were times where he, I think, was A, undisciplined, and B, wasn't sure what his role was. And I think I blame the previous manager for part of that. But Abankwah was not getting regular starts. He was not getting regular games, period. He wasn't appearing in games. And I think that stifled him and set him back a bit. He's a young lad. Oh, well, there's the sign completely gone. He's a young lad. So, that's you got to look at that. But I really do believe that we've not seen the last of James Abankwah. as I'm trying to assemble um, a little bit of Christmas spirit here. If I can find the proper lighting conditions. But I think excuse me, James Bank was a good defender. I still think he's very good. I think he's lost his way a little bit in the squad. And the fact that we do have defensive players who are actually pretty blooming good in addition to him, and quite frankly, better performers than him of late, makes it tougher for him. When he started last time, I thought he was okay. I think that was against Wrexham. He started okay last time, but he's kind of the I hate to say the odd man out or the man on the outside looking in, but he has been for a lot of the season. And I hope he keeps his head up and realizes that Javi is going to give him a chance again. Javi is a reasonable person. The previous manager was not, right? But this manager that we've got here, with all the credit in the world in the bank, is a reasonable human being, and he's not going to freeze out a banquet for weeks and weeks. He started a banquet in the last game, and what I'm doing here is trying to get these Christmas tree lights in view for you. Um, but I don't know if you can even see that properly. But anyway, um, oh gosh, the tape is all over the place. But he started really. I think he had some decent games for us, but he's kind of the odd man out at the minute, Brown. And yeah, I mean, I was thinking that he might be the breakout star, and for a lot of time last season, he was, and this season there were high hopes for him to continue that when he was back on loan. I thought that was a very important re-signing of a banquet from Udinese again. I thought that was very important. And I think it still is important. But he just hasn't had the game time. And when he has played, he hasn't been outstanding. So different. It's a sophomore season for a young man like a Banqua. He's still got room to grow, and I think he will continue to grow, but he just needs more playing time. I feel creatively, says Brown, we are struggling with having Vata and Bar out. I think that's very true. That is a very good point that you make, Brown, and I agree with you. Um, I think our creativity is an issue without those two players. Those are two very good creative players, very good technical players. And I think Javi recognizes that. So there's lots of limitation when those two players aren't on the pitch. What those two players do very well also is stretch the pitch. They expand the pitch and the width of the pitch very well. And I think they are absolutely great. Absolutely great. Both of those players are. Vata was playing really good football before he was hurt, and he's had a pretty serious injury. I don't know if that's going to require surgery for him with his hamstring, but he's going to be out a little bit longer than Barr. So at least Quadro Barr, although he has a hamstring injury as well, is going to come back probably January, maybe February at the latest. I don't have any informed opinion on that, but Watford had put out some comments saying that he will be at hopefully back in the new year. Now, in the new year could be anywhere in the new year, right? It couldn't. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the first week of January, but it might be. Who knows? If we're optimistic enough as Watford supporters, maybe he will be back in January, in the early part of the January period. I have a feeling he will get back before February. That's what my guess is. It's not an informed guess, though. It's completely speculation. Um, you know, but you're right, Brown. Our creativity, we do lack something when they're not there. And I think our composure also lacks because when you've got those two players on the ball, they really do give you a lot of flexibility and width, as I've said. But they also draw defenders. They draw defenders, and so that gives a bit more freedom for runners in the middle of the box to come in and chase onto something that they will cross in. And both of them are very good, very incisive players down that left flank. And of course, I think both can also play on the other side as well. But Vatten likes the left, and I think Barr goes either way. He can go through left or right. Um, and when they're on the pitch, they are very, very difficult to deal with. They're both pacey, especially Vata. Both of them are very pacey, actually. But Vata can really run with the ball, and so can Barr. They both just can fly. Both of them are really, really strong like that. But I think that what Barr offers you is more physicality than Vata does, and so that's where I'd separate them. But they're both very strong players, and I think that Barr is terrific. He's got goals in him. Vata has goals in him, But yeah, I do agree with you, Brown. We are missing some creativity without the two of them on the pitch. Matt says Jeremy Petrie is still in the squad on the Watford app, and there's nothing on there about him having an injury. Yeah, I thought so, Matt. Thank you for that. Matt, you do a great job with updating us, and you do a great job here helping us here on You Orns, Watford FC post match, and it's also great, always great. Your contributions are invaluable. So I do want to make that clear to you, Matt, and to everyone else who contributes. Matt particularly has been sterling here in this first half of the season. Jeremy Petrie still very much in the squad, and I didn't think he wasn't, but I was just wondering, has he left? Has he gone? Is he what? But I didn't hear any news of that either, Matt. So thank you for updating us. Nothing about him having an injury. Listen, again, comes down to the fact that we just got a lot of players and you can't play everybody. And there's a rotation of players that Javi now is trusting, is beginning to form a nucleus around. And you don't have these wild vacillations anymore with 5 players being out and 5 players coming in and 6 players being that kind of stuff that was with the previous manager. You don't have that anymore. Javi now seems to have found an identity with this team in terms of the kinds of players he wants to implement his tactics. And these players are beginning to learn that and do that. And so then he only needs to make 2 or 3 changes. I think today there were only 2 changes to the squad, to the starting lineup, excuse me. And, that's the kind of thing that you look at with Javi. He's done an excellent job here so far, coming back. Only 1 defeat in our last 10. And we get this clean sheet today, our second clean sheet this season, both of them under Javi and both of them at the Vic. The final score today was Watford 1, Stoke City 0. It is a fantastic performance. A fantastic job in the end by us to get over the line and take out the Stoke side. Let's keep that going, and let's hope that we can get 3 points at Leicester, at the King Power, on Boxing Day, which is a day after Christmas, of course. And I want to wish each and every one of you watching, Watford fans, any fan of football, watching this particular episode of the You Orns Watford FC post-match, a very Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas to each and every one of you. From me, Omar, here in San Francisco, as a fellow Watford supporter, to every Watford fan watching, and to every football fan who watches this feed as well. Like and subscribe at You Orns WFC. Remember, on Substack, it's You Orns WFC, the number 1, .substack.com. Of course, we will take a break, of course, until we get to Boxing Day. I'll be doing a You Orns 10-minute take in the next hour or so get ready for that. Again, thank you very much. Take care. And Brown says, thanks for the stream, I'll see you Boxing Day. We will see you then. Brown, thank you very much. And to all of you watching, a very Merry Christmas to you all. The final score, Watford 1, Stoke City 0. Our next game is on Boxing Day at the King Power against Leicester. And until then, it's Omar saying, Merry Christmas.